Oh, hello! I didn't see you there. Welcome to another episode of programming. Now, you look like the kind of person that likes graphs. So we're going to do a lot of we're going to be making graphs in Gamemaker. I know it's extremely exciting, but it's actually pretty cool. Because you can use this for a lot of different stuff, like especially in games and whatnot. If your game's pretty cool, pretty complicated, you can have like graphs that show certain statistics or things they did well in the game or something like that. Or if you're doing more complicated programming like simulators and whatnot, you can do that sort of thing to keep track of just numbers and whatever you want to do. It's your program. You can graph the way you want to graph. So first, we're going to do a bar graph. Object bar. Graph. Oh, let's not forget. Let's not forget. We don't want to forget to make the font really big, so people who can't see the code can see the code. Anyway, so now that you got this this graph of bars object, we're going to add an event. We're going to make the create event, and of course we're going to add in code. Boink! This is going to be really easy. We're going to put this, we're going to say numbers, because this is where we're going to keep our numbers. We're going to do ds list create. We're going to make a list of numbers. And the first one, we're going to go ds list add. Right now we're just showing we're just going to be making what our graph is going to, what numbers our graph is going to show. So let's put numbers. First we want to do 0. We kind of always want the first one to be 0. And after that we can say repeat, and let's give ourselves 9, so we have like 10 numbers in total. And we're going to say ds list add numbers. We're going to say irandom range. So let's go anywhere between -3 and 3. Can we do that? Yeah, because I think you know what? Because we don't want to go to below 0, and it would take a lot more programming to make it that way. So let's just go 0 and 5 for now. Anywho, that's going to give us our numbers, all the numbers that we're going to use. Now that that's all set, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into the draw event because we're going to draw some stuff. So, very first, what we want to do, we want to say for I is equal to 0, I is less than ds list size number, or how big our list of numbers is, so that way no matter how big it gets, we can show it. For right now, because it's going to be static, we're going to get into some other, we're going to get to some complicated graphs later on. So don't you even worry about it. But right now we're going to do this nice bar graph. For now, color, we don't want to do anything. I mean, if we wanted to make them all different colors, we could. It'd be a little bit more, well, no, that wouldn't be too bad. Let's make the bar graph first, and then we'll make it some fun colors. So right now, let's just make it white, just so we can see it nice. And then we're going to say draw. I'm also going to make some variables right here. Var start x equals 0 and var start y equals 0. That way we have a spot. This is pretty much like, if we have a graph, I'll do it for you guys. We have a graph that's going to be like kind of the sides of our graph like this. I want the 0, 0 point to be right here for where we're going to be drawing the graph. So as we draw outwards, we can add stuff, and as we draw upwards, we can also just add stuff. So basically, so we're going to say start x. Let's just move it over 100, and start y. Let's do 200. That way it's 100, or for you guys, 100 and 200 down in the room. That way gives it some room of where to go. anywho, let's move on. Draw rectangle. So first, our x is going to be start x plus, and we're going to say I, and let's make our bars like 20 pixels in weight, in length, or width, in width. So they're going to be 20 apart. So that means for the first one, we're just going to be right, it's going to be I times 20, which is going to be 0, which means it's just going to be right at that 100 point. Boom, right there. Then, what we're going to do, I was going to say start y. Start y, this is always just going to be start y. So nothing's going to be added there. And then this is going to be start x plus 20 plus I times 20. And then this is going to be start y plus numbers. This is, and if you don't know, this is an accessor. This is the way that you can access DS lists without typing like DS find, DS list find value, or index. If you just want to just find whatever there, you can just do your list and then the square brackets and then this line, which is your key right above your enter key, is shift and then that point, and then you can put in your number. It's a really easy way if you just want to find, if you're cycling through a bunch of numbers and things like that. This will change later. For now, this is just what we're gonna do, but we're gonna fix it so it's a lot better. An outline is going to be false. All right. So this gives us a basic graph. Almost. Let's add a few more things. Draw, set, color. Let's make the lines so that we have something to kind of base it off of. Whoa. Black. There we go. I mean African American, because we are a non-offensive, friendly channel here for programming. Draw, and we're just going to draw a line. The line is going to start at start x, and this is going to be start y. The width of it, let's just say, 20 times, or this is going to be start x plus 20 times DS list size of numbers. And then the y is just going to go up, so start y. And then this is going to be minus 100. That's, also, don't forget this. This is going to be minus down here. That's going to be minus because we're going up. I always make that mistake, is that I add it. You don't want to do that. Am I dumb? Oh, I'm dumb. Let's put another parenthesis right there. That way this is y, and that's that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, drag this out so we can see a bit more of it. There we go. How about that for you? So this is our very basic graph, all right? Nothing crazy here. So what now we're going to do, let's just give it a start, and let's check it out. We don't have a room. Yep, we don't have a room. Get a room. Get it. So anyways, this is what we're going to have. It's not going to be a very big graph, though, because we can adjust, though, how big it is and whatnot. So right now, we have a weird I know why. 'Cause I'm a smart boy. Alright. This is also, so we need two separate lines. Let's copy that. That's going to be start x. That's going to be start y. And this is just going to be start x. And this is going to be start y minus 100. So pause, take a look at that just to make sure it's all set, because now we're gonna get somewhere. All right. I do want to adjust a few things though. I do want to make the start y lower, so that we have a bit more of a, well, it'll make sense when we get there, but we're just getting a basic graph that just shows some numbers. All right, shows some numbers in a row. So after this loads, boom, there we go. Now we have our line graph. And now you see, as you can see though, like our graph has so much more space, right? And yet our data is so small, right? We're going to be fixing a whole lot of stuff. Like I said, we're just taking it one step at a time. I'm going to take these, boink, take them, just going to rip them right out of there and post them on the bottom, or paste them in the bottom. That's so the lines. So take a look at that. I just moved this stuff up there, down here. That way we can, when we start this, that means those black lines will like go above everything. It'll make it look a little bit better. See, there we go. Gives it more of an outline. Now, as we can see now, it was supposed to get like bigger numbers. Oh, but it wasn't. Oh, I get it. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's totally good. So, in order, what we're going to do is, in fact, we're actually going to take it 2 steps further. We're going to make it so the whole graph is 400 by 400 pixels, so it's going to be even. So we're going to take this away, and instead we're going to make this 400. All right. That way we have our set length of how we want this graph to be. So let's go and play it one more time, just so we're gonna take a look at the projected size. So this is the size at which we want our graph to be. It doesn't look even. Oh, because that's 300. That's fine. Let's make it, okay. All right. Let's go ahead and let's make this 300. That way it's a 300 by 300 graph. It's totally even, all right? First thing we need to do is we need to scale up like our bars so that they fill up like the entire graph instead of being like these tiny little guys. So first off, what we want to do is we want to make a variable and we want to call it highest. Right now it's just equaling 0. This is in the create event right here. That what we're going to do is actually we'll probably make this variable and we'll call it number or just num. We're going to have equal. We're going to take this out right here. So let's go ahead and just cut that out. Paste that there. Let's type in num right here because we're going to do a bit of a check. So we've got to be able to use the same number, you know? So like, it's like because we're only going to get this random number once, and then we want to be able to use that for the rest of our little iteration here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to say if num is greater than highest, right? Then we're going to say highest is equal to num. And this is just whatever data we have. I'm also going to go up here where I'm going to say randomize, because this will make it so that the numbers our graph gets are different every time we run the game when it comes to these random numbers. So basically what we're doing is that we're finding the highest value, the tallest that our graph is ever going to get. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to scale that up to the height of our graph. So that's exactly, so let's go ahead and do that first. So we have our maximum height being 300. Okay. So what I usually do is that I want the highest point of the graph to be about 90% of the way to the top of the graph. Does that make sense? So our highest value like won't be straight up at the top of the graph. It'll be like almost there, you know? So what we're going to do is that basically we're going to get our number out of the highest, like, because it's we do with like proportions and things like that. So and this is where it's going to take place. So it's going to be start y, but this is going to be numbers, yeah, divided by. Hold on, let's do some quick math. I gotta make sure I'm doing this correctly, because all we want to do is make sure that it's all good. Because yeah, okay, yep. It was all good. Just making sure. So we're gonna take this, divide it by our highest, right there. So we want to put these in parentheses. I tend to over parenthesize stuff inside like little equations and stuff like that, but I do that just to make sure that the numbers are going to be correct. Like it's going to do the correct order of operations to make sure that everything is good. So we want to take our numbers divided by. Nope, I was not right. See, that's why I take the little notes here, because I was working on something earlier. This is going to be, so let's put the parentheses back. This is going to be numbers times, we're going to do another parenthesis, and this is going to be 300 times 0.9. because we want to go, because our highest height is 300, and so we want to go, our highest point is going to be 90% of that, okay? Alright, there we go. Then we're going to take that, and we're going to divide that by highest. That's what we want. I'm going to put a parenthesis there and there, just to double check. So, just to recap, we're going to take whatever number we're looking at, our data in the graph, we're going to times it by 300 times 90, which we could do. Like, we could figure that out. 300 times 0.9 is 270. So to be honest, we can just put that in there, so it's like less work that the computer has to do. Times 270 divided by highest. And that will give us our height of this particular number of the graph out of like our tallest things. It's like it says proportions. It's like I remember learning this in like 5th or 6th grade, right? But it's something that I use all the time as a programmer. But if we go ahead, let's say the number that we're looking at is a 3, and our highest value is 8, and then that's going to be at a 270, right? So we can see that. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what's happening. I could just put like graphic visuals on the screen right now, but that'll take editing and stuff, and I don't want to do that. But basically what we do is that we times the 3 and the 270 together. I'll write that there. Boom. We times that 3 and the 270. And then we divide it by our 8 down there. And then that gets us whatever number out of 270 that is equal to 3 out of 8. I hope that makes sense. But that's what we're doing. So now, when we go into our graph, let's take a look here, a look-see, and go ahead, boom! Now our graph makes a lot more sense. Here, we only have our 10 values, or data, bits of data here. Let's make it so it doesn't equal 0. So we can come into our bar graph and we can just make this 1, just so we got, because now we can make this 1 out of 10, alright? We can go ahead and make it 1 out of 10. And then what we can do is bada bing! Now we got some graphs. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we could even take it a step further to make it a little bit cooler. Before we set our color to white, because it's going to be, we want to say draw, set, color, see black. And then what we're going to do is we're going to exactly copy this, alright, and put it right there. And then instead we're going to say true. Oh, and you know what? This needs to be, let's cut this out, and this needs to be below this. Alright? Alright, so take a second to look at that. Now, it kind of sucks that I did this whole thing right now, because we are going to adjust this, but we can just do it to both, so it's going to be totally fine. But now when we look at our graph, basically we're just giving them a little bit of an outline so that we can define them a little bit better. Ooh, excuse me. Now, here we go. Boom. Now it looks better, right? We got a graph, we got some data or data. I tend to say it differently almost like most of the time, data or data. It's weird. So now what we're going to do is that we are going to, and you know what, this doesn't have to be 0. In fact, in a bar graph, it doesn't have to be 0. In a timeline graph, it kind of has to be 0. But we're going to get to that in a minute. In a bar graph, this doesn't have to be 0, so we can fix that. But now what we want to do is that we want to scale the width of our guys to be that. But let's first go ahead. All we're going to do is get rid of this, and then say this repeat to be 10. All right. So now we'll hit it again. We'll just do it again. Right. Make sure it's all nice and good. All right. Boom. There we go. Some graphs. We got little bits of white up there, but it's not. It's whatever. Oh, because at each time it like. I get ya. I catch drift. Okay, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. So now let's do basically the same thing, but with our width. So we need, every time we need to make another variable, and we need to call it unit. Well, we don't need to call it unit, but I'm going to call it unit. And basically this is going to be our width, which is 300, and this is going to be divided by ds list size numbers. And I believe it actually has to be if I am correct. Actually, in this case, I don't think it needs to, because we got a bar graph, so it's different. In a bar graph, we don't need it to be like that, so we can just keep it. We can just keep it like this. So now, what all we do is instead of timesing it by 20, all these 20s are basically going to be replaced by unit. So we're going to go ahead and just say, well, let's start from the beginning. Let's go unit right there, and then whatever this was supposed to be, unit. This is going to be unit, and I think that's fine there. So we do the same thing down here, because basically we're just taking our total width, which is 300, because instead of making them every 20, we're basically dividing that 300 up into bits, even with like into 10 sections, and then so that whatever of those sections are equal to, that's what our bar graphs are going to be counting themselves by. And then we just need to say unit. So make this a little bit bigger so you can check it out. So you can take a second and look at that. So then as we go through our bar graphs, they'll be wider depending on how wide our thing is. And also, we'll get there in a second. We'll get to another thing in a second as well. But let's go ahead. And then there we go. As you can see now, our bar graph fits our thing. Our bars fit the graph like perfectly now, which is super cool. I think now the last thing we need to do is we need to get some numbers in here. All right. This is pretty easy as well. So basically, as we're going along, I kind of like to make this. Well, here we can do it just fine. So, and then the last thing we want to do, because if it's still black, let's keep it black. So we can just say draw text, and this is going to be start x plus I times unit, and then we're going to add 10 so that it's like in the middle, and then the y is going to be start y plus, I don't know, say 20. Let's also go ahead up here first. I like to make it so the coordinates are in the middle for the text. So we're going to say draw set h align fa center. I'm going to say draw set v align fa center. This is the origin point of the text text that we're going to draw. Right now we're just putting it in the center, so like we'll have our point that we're defining it, and then it will make the text from that point even. So then we're going to say string, and then we're going to say numbers. We're going to do our accessor again and put I in there. We need another parenthesis. There we go. And then that will give us the numbers that we're going to draw for our graph, I believe. I think it should. But you know, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that oh yeah, I was like, what the heck? No, that's okay. Yep, we just need to take out the numbers thing, because we're not actually looking up what number it is. We're just looking up what iteration it is. So I took out the numbers thing, so now it's just I. The string is just I. So now we can take a look at that. There we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wonderful. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to basically do the same thing, but for the y-axis, basically. So this one gets a little bit different, and this is going to be done like down here, because we're not just doing it along with whatever. So we're going to call this, we're probably going to call this x units. So let's go ahead and everywhere put an x in the middle here. Alright, with me so far? Because if you're not, of course you can always just pause, take a look, make sure everything's set, and go. Then we're going to say y unit equals, now this is going to be 270 divided by highest. Alright, basically we're just, because our 270 is technically the tallest point that our graph is going to get when it comes to pixels, right? And so what we're doing is making it so that we're dividing that 270 into however many sections we have. And then what we're going to do is then we're going to draw numbers going upwards depending on that unit. So this is going to be, I'll probably just do it right here, just for I, or we're good as I equals 0 again. We can do that. I is less than. Hold the phone. This needs to be different. I know why this needs to be different. We're gonna solve this. We're gonna solve this while. All right. While. And we're gonna do another variable. All right. All right. Stay with me here. We're gonna call it current y. Right now, it's just, oh my gosh. Okay, it's just 0. Okay. And we're gonna say while current y is less than 300. All right. So basically, we're just going to put up the numbers up until it gets to the top of the graph. And I'll tell you why we're going to do that, because we're 90% of the total graph height. So there's going to be like there might be another number or something there. So it's just to make sure that our graph still shows numbers beyond the tallest part of our graph, if that makes sense. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. So now we are going to also do var. We're just going to call this value for right now. So we are going to say draw text, and just to make sure, let's do draw set color C black, just to make sure that's all good. And we're going to draw text. The X is going to be, because this we drew that, so let's go start X minus 20, because we're going to be out the same amount, so that's going to be fine. Y, this is where it gets important. It's going to be value times current Y, all right, plus Y, let's do this, Y unit divided by 2. All right, and this needs to be the same thing. Oh my gosh, this needs to be the same thing up here. So we go to our X, this plus 10, because it's not always going to be in the middle. This is going to be X unit divided by 2, because our units could get longer, so we need to make it so it's in the middle. We're doing the same thing here, all right? And then our string is going to be string value, all right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to say value plus plus, we're going to add 1 to value, and we're going to say current Y plus equals Y unit. All right? All right. I've done when I've done previous graphs, I've done the rest of it before, but I haven't done the y-axis yet. So yeah, we should be pretty good. It should be fine. And we get an error, of course. Units. That's because it needs to be y unit or x unit. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go to our bar graph, and it's just right here. It just needs x unit. I'm just going to do a double check just to make sure that we don't have any just regular units from before the change. Y unit and plus equals y unit. Okay, we should be good. We should be frosty. All right. Hopefully that's the case. Whoa, what? I know what happened here. Yep. This has to be, yeah, and this has to be, y. Oh, you know what? This is just current y, alright? And then we need to do start y minus this right here. You see, we you know, we take some time, we do some stuff, but we get it done. We get it done. There we go. That should be the stuff. The right stuff. The good stuff. Bada bing! Now this is above 300, but you know, you get the idea. Except you know what? See, I'm dumb. You know, I don't know why you watch my videos. I'm dumb. We got to take this out because it's different. So, oh, sorry. Let me go back. We took out, because you know how it's got this I, or this X unit divided by 2? I took out the Y unit divided by 2 because we don't want to be in the middle. We want our thing to be right there. Does that make sense? We want our thing to be right there. There we go. Because like I saw everything was like kind of off. So I'm like, what the heck? That way, like this is 1, 2, 3. We can see that's 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Woo! It's not easy being green, you know. It's not super relevant, but you know. Now we're gonna take it even a step further. So now what we're gonna do is I actually want to take this whole thing. All right, stay with me. This whole thing, but let's take that out. All right, and let's put it right here. All right, so we got our showing numbers right here. All right. The reason for this is because I want to then go ahead and also draw set color. Actually, it can stay black. We just need draw set alpha. Let's go and make it like 0.5. Let's say. I want to say draw line. X is going to be start X minus, let's just say like 4. Because basically I want to make lines that go across the Y axis so we can like more precisely see where our graph is lining up. So now let's go ahead. Our start Y is going to be, or Y, that's going to be just our start Y. Except that's going to be our start Y minus current Y. Alright. X is then going to be start X plus 300. And of course you can make variables for like width and height of your graph. Width and height of your graph. As like these 300 stuff, you can put that in. And then this is still going to be the same thing. Start Y minus current. Oh, it doesn't need to be in parentheses because, you know what I mean? You know, you catch my drift? We don't need that. And then of course we want to say draw set alpha, so 1 again, just to make sure that everything else is fine. So now when we look at our graph, we'll be able to more precisely see our numbers and whatnot. So now things crashed, of course. Oh, that I just didn't put a Y somewhere. Current Y, there we go. Current Y. See, I always do little things like that where I just kind of forget a letter or forget one little thing like that. And it's like, ugh, terrible. Boom, there we go, you see? Now it's like, oh, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's a 6. Oh, that's a 10. Those are 2 10s. Those are 9s. It's like, isn't this like the most beautiful graph you've done ever seen? Like, I know, right? Now, I want to go, see, now I look at it, I'm like, oh, let's do a few more things. We do need to do a couple things. One, these lines right here, I'm going to go ahead and take this out. I'm going to say draw rectangle. This will make a lot more sense. So it's just going to be start X, start Y, start X plus 300, start Y minus 300. Am I dumb? Yep. Outline, true. It is going to be an outline. Let's take a look at our graph. Let's see what we got. There we go. Now, like, it's in like this. It's in like a box, pretty much. And I want to go. We're gonna do another change, but that's gonna be easy peasy. But now it's like in this box, in this nice uniform kind of place. I want to go ahead and make this one little change. We're gonna make this equal to 300, just so like in that situation where it was like exactly the same, like that 10 wasn't up there. So we're gonna say just equal to it as well. There we go. See, then as you can see, we kind of get this barely like, oh, 11's like barely right at the top of the graph right there, and whatnot. And here's the cool part of these graphs. Let's do one thing too. let's go ahead and make it so we can change the size of it really easy. So we're going to say graph width 300 var graph height equals 300. Alright, that's 270. So let's go ahead, and this is going to be var graph highest equals graph height times 0.9. Alright, now start x is going to be fine, start y. So start x is going to be, that's going to be 100. That's going to be totally fine. Start y is going to be graph height plus 100. Alright? Alright? This is going to be graph width. Alright? This is going to be graph highest, right there. Okay? Going down. This is going to be graph height. Okay? Still going, still going. What's this? Okay, yep, we know what that is. This is our graph width. Alright? Alright? Staying with me? I just tend to go really fast. Not that I'm like super great or anything like that. It's just, you know, tend to just kind of get stuff done. This is also our graph highest. So let's go graph highest. If I can type. See, I can't type. This is also right here. Graph highest. Okay. That's all good and fine. And then this is going to be graph width and graph height. Alright. So we'll take a second just to go over it. So you can pause it, just take sure double check everything's good. I'm gonna scroll down. You can pause it, double check everything's good. Everything looks good. Now nothing's really going to visually change about our graph right now. But we could visually change it, alright? And I'll show you what I mean. So, everything's totally fine. Looks like we replaced everything correctly. So now, let's go ahead, because now we can mess with some stuff. Because we've got it all variabilized, we can change, we can be as big as we want. So graph width, if we want it to be 800, right? We just have to change that one easy number, and then the graph does the rest of it for us. As you can see, bada bing! Now we got a big fat graph, right? So it's pretty cool that we can change it as much as we want, like this. The cooler part is, oh, you know what? Let's do this first. Is that we can say alarm 0 equals 60. Actually, we have 30 FPS right now, so just 30. And that's in our create event. Let's make an alarm 0 event. And let's just say, first we're going to say alarm 0 equals 30, just to make sure it loops around again. We're going to say ds list add. We're going to say numbers. Whoa. And then same thing, irandom range anywhere from 1 to 10 Alright? So the cool thing is that we can add stuff to it over time and it still works perfectly fine. I think. It should. It will. Yeah. There we go. Now as you can see, we're getting numbers and it's getting bigger and our thing is getting smaller. But now we start to run into another problem. Our numbers down there are starting to get really close together and become pretty much unreadable. So, we have a solution for that. Glad you asked. Because we can fix that. Now what we're going to do, I know, it's going to get even crazier, okay? Right now we are going to say, where's the thing that's drawing the text? Here it is. Here it is. And that's also drawing our, no, that's drawing our Y's. Here's the one that we want. Okay. So, okay. We're going to say var space equals 1. Space, that's referring to how many units we're actually going to draw a number. Alright? So, then we're going to say if x unit is smaller than or equal to, let's say 10. So if the pixels, if our graphs are less than 10 pixels wide, we're going to go ahead and we're going to say space equals 5. And then we can say if x unit is less than or equal to and let's just say 5. That should be fine though. Let's just say 1. Then we can say space is equal to 10. All right. Now there might be a better way to do this. In fact, I'm pretty sure. But the way that I get it to work consistently is that we can say where we can make a variable called leftover, and this is equal to what the crap is this equal to? This is equal to I. That's what it's equal to. And then we can say while leftover is greater than 0, we can say leftover minus equals space. Alright? Alright, and then we can say if leftover is equal to 0, then we're going to draw the thing. Basically what this is doing is that, let's say our space is 5, and if we have 30 bars in our graph, right? Each of them, yeah, that'd be 5. Okay. So basically, if we're drawing number 12, let's say, 12 is going to go right here in this I, right? And then it's going to minus 5, still greater than 0. So 12 minus 5 would be 7. It'll go back and say, yep, 7 is greater than 0. So then it's going to minus space, right? So then it's going to be 2, right? And it's going to, right, 2 is still greater than 0. So it's going back through, and it's going to minus space again, which is 5. So it's going to be negative 3. So negative 3 is less than 0, so it's going to break, right? But it's not equal to 0. It's negative 3, so we're not going to draw a number, right? But 15, for instance, right? We're going to go through, we're going to minus space, which is 10, minus space, which is 5, then minus 5, minus space, which is 11, which is not equal, which is 0, which is not equal to 0. So then we're going to go, so 0, or because 0 is not greater than 0, right? So then it's going to go, and it's going to say if leftover is equal to 0, and then it's going to equal, then we're going to draw our number. I hope that kind of makes sense. So let's go ahead. My tutorials go on for a long time, but it's like cool, it's like in-depth stuff. It's really nice. Like you'll never have to figure out how to make a graph again. So we can just sit here and we can just watch, but then we can adjust our units. Like for instance, they're already getting a little too close. So well, that's because of the font though, because we can kind of change the font and make them even a little bit smaller. But you'll see once we hit 30, what we can do is that it changes it like that. So I think the best thing to really do is just to pick a different font in this situation, because like the double numbers are really wide and whatnot, and you probably make the font smaller as well. But that's the general idea of this right here. So we're getting like lots of numbers. Now of course, when you're doing this, you're not really going to just do random numbers, but you're going to be just showing actual data and whatnot. But this is it for now. Now we're going to do one final touch. Alright? I promise after this it'll be it. Okay? Let's go into our create event right here. And let's go ahead and we're going to call this colors 0. We'll just make a regular array. So let's make this white, not while, not, there we go. Colors. We'll just make it, let's make it blue. Colors, and let's go through the rainbow. C, purple. Colors, 3 is equal to C, red. Like, what are colors? C, orange, which the built-in orange is really crappy, but we just kind of go with it. C, and then we got yellow, and then colors. 6C, and then we got green. I like to use lime instead though, because it's a bit more vibrant. Okay? Alright. So, now, let's implement these colors. Alright. Oh boy. So, first let's check. Okay, so how many do we have? We have up to 6 right there, alright? In our array. So let's come in here where you're showing our bar graph. We're going to say color equals 0. Alright. So right here, this is where we're actually drawing our thing. We're going to call it colors and X. We don't need that because it's just a regular array. So colors, color. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say color plus plus, like we're going to add one to it. All right. And then we're going to say if color is equal to 7, let's say. Like we just drew a green. Like we just drew a green and then we add to it. And if it's 7, which is greater than that, right? We're going to say color is equal to 0. Okay? Alright, so now we're going to make our graph is going to have different colors around and whatnot. And that's going to make it fun. Yay! Fun color graphs.
Yeah, that orange is terrible. It's like a skin color almost.
But yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's the graph. I'm going to go ahead and stop that alarm from going off. There we go. Just because you can mess with it like that. But that is that. That is this tutorial. I was going to do more bar graphs or more graphs and stuff like that, but given that it's already 46 minute long video, I'm going to go ahead and just do that next time in a part 2. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this crap, and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you guys next time. Always remember to have a complete breakfast, by the way. Adios.